Every year, a new generation of NFL stars enters the league with massive contracts and limited experience in managing generational wealth. In the shadows of these multi-million-dollar deals, a predatory industry of advisors and associates waits to siphon away earnings through manipulative schemes and unauthorized investments. This breakdown investigates the tragic stories of players who trusted the wrong people, losing everything to those they considered family or reliable financial stewards. It is a sobering lesson on the necessity of independent verification, proving that even the most disciplined stars can be left destitute without rigorous, third-party oversight of their accounts. These are the superstars who learned the hard way that their greatest competitive advantage, their trust, was the very thing that destroyed their legacy. The question remains, is the real failure systemic neglect by the league, or a personal breakdown in the athlete's own financial discipline? These are the players who faced the harsh reality of seeing their lifetime earnings vanish at the hands of those they trusted most. Fred Taylor. Fred Taylor was a powerhouse running back whose dominance on the field for the Jacksonville Jaguars earned him a place among the NFL's all-time greats. Off the field, however, Taylor was one of the many stars victimized by Jeff Rubin, a prominent financial advisor who operated within the inner circle of the league's top players. Taylor invested significant capital in Country Crossing, a development project that Rubin pitched as a lucrative expansion opportunity. Instead, the project collapsed into a massive Ponzi-style debacle, costing Taylor and his teammates millions of dollars in losses. The betrayal was particularly stinging because Rubin had been a long-term advisor, making his decision to leverage athlete funds into illegal electronic bingo operations a devastating breach of fiduciary duty. Taylor's public frustration highlighted the profound sense of helplessness athletes feel when the people who hold the keys to their future actively dismantle their security for personal gain. Furthermore, the recovery process forced Taylor into a grueling legal battle that dragged on for years, diverting his attention and resources away from building new, legitimate ventures. The emotional toll of realizing that his hard-earned career success was being exploited was often cited by Taylor as more painful than any physical injury he sustained on the gridiron. He eventually became a vocal advocate for better financial literacy, urging younger players to move beyond blind trust and embrace the necessity of professional, third-party audits of every investment deal. Steve Atwater. Steve Atwater was a hard-hitting safety and a staple of the Denver Broncos championship teams, earning widespread respect for his intelligence and dedication. Despite his professional success, Atwater became one of the high-profile athletes ensnared in the fraudulent activities of Kirk Wright and Nelson Keith Bond, who operated through an investment firm that was eventually exposed as a massive, hollow Ponzi scheme. Atwater and several other players invested millions in a hedge fund that promised unrealistic annual returns. In reality, the fund was nothing more than a front used to misappropriate client funds for the advisor's own luxury vehicles, jewelry, and personal residences. Atwater was eventually forced to take legal action, revealing that even players who conducted extensive background checks could be betrayed by systemic failures in the institutions they trusted to keep their assets safe. The revelation sent shockwaves through the league, as players realized their financial safety nets were essentially illusions designed to lure them into traps. Atwater spent significant time and money trying to claw back his assets, a process he described as an exhausting secondary career of litigation. His story serves as a permanent reminder that even high-intelligence players can be blindsided when the underlying regulatory infrastructure meant to protect them is fundamentally broken. He remains a key figure in discussions about league-level accountability, constantly reminding the next generation that no credentialed advisor is above independent scrutiny. Dan Dierdorf. Dan Dierdorf was a legendary offensive tackle for the St. Louis Cardinals and a respected fixture in the broadcasting booth, a career that should have provided immense financial stability. However, like many of his peers, Dierdorf found that the transition from a structured team environment to independent business management came with unforeseen traps. He became involved in various commercial real estate and business ventures that suffered during economic downturns, forcing him to face the reality of debt that accumulated faster than his businesses could generate revenue. Unlike those who fell victim to outright fraud, Dierdorf's struggles highlight the difficulty of managing diverse portfolios without the specialized knowledge required to navigate volatile markets. His journey serves as a poignant reminder that even the most seasoned veterans are not immune to the financial pressure of the real world after the final whistle blows. Dierdorf often spoke about the arrogance of believing that being a great player or broadcaster translated into being a great venture capitalist. He realized too late that the lack of a proper management team left him exposed to liabilities he didn't fully comprehend until the lenders came knocking. The stress of managing these failed business interests ultimately overshadowed the joy of his post-football broadcasting success. He now cautions others that true success isn't about how much you make, but how effectively you can compartmentalize your fame from your actual business acumen, ensuring that failure in one doesn't destroy the other. Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner and dynamic running back, saw his entire fortune vanish due to the actions of a predatory advisor named Peggy Ann Fulford. Fulford, who falsely claimed to be a Harvard-educated financial expert with a pedigree in high-level hospital acquisitions, gained total control over Williams' accounts by promising to manage his taxes and investments. Instead, she systematically raided his funds, using the money to finance a lavish lifestyle for herself, including luxury cars, international travel, and private real estate. By the time the fraud was uncovered, Williams had lost virtually all of the money he had earned during his time in the NFL, leaving him starting from scratch despite a legendary career. His case is a chilling example of how completely a player can be stripped of their assets when they relinquish control to someone who weaponizes the caretaker dynamic to hide their true intentions. Williams admitted that he trusted Fulford because she presented herself as a maternal, nurturing figure who took the administrative burden off his plate. This emotional manipulation prevented him from seeing the red flags until it was far too late to recover the bulk of his savings. The experience forced him to rethink his entire approach to personal autonomy, leading to years of rebuilding his lifestyle from the ground up. He frequently shares this experience to warn others that any advisor who asks for total, unfettered control over your life is likely looking for a way to exploit your trust rather than preserve your future. Jamarcus Russell. Jamarcus Russell, the former No. 1 overall draft pick who signed a massive $61 million rookie contract with the Oakland Raiders, serves as a sobering example of financial fragility despite immense early career wealth. Russell's financial decline was not just the result of a single bad investment, but a combination of unsustainable lifestyle choices, poor financial guidance, and a rapid decrease in income following his exit from the league. He faced the embarrassment of having his mansion foreclosed upon and was caught in long-standing legal disputes over contract repayments. His case highlights how quickly the generational wealth promised by a top-tier contract can erode when the athlete lacks the infrastructure to manage cash flow in the face of dwindling professional opportunities. Russell's story is a blunt reminder that top-tier draft status is not a shield against the fiscal realities of an unpredictable sports career, illustrating that even the biggest paydays can disappear without rigid financial discipline. The lack of a transition plan meant that when his play regressed, his spending did not follow suit, creating a catastrophic imbalance that drained his accounts in mere years. Many financial analysts point to his case as a failure of team-provided support, suggesting that the league should have mandated financial coaching for such high-stakes prospects. He remains a cautionary figure for every rookie entering the draft, proving that talent is only a gateway to wealth, and only discipline can transform that gateway into a lasting legacy. Without that discipline, even the most lucrative contracts turn into a fleeting moment of prosperity that leaves the player vulnerable to years of public struggle. The stadium lights eventually fade, and for these legends, the challenge of maintaining their hard-earned wealth proved far more difficult than any defense they faced on Sunday. These stories aren't just about losing money, they are about the fragility of a life built on the assumption that the checks will never stop coming. The transition into the real world is a ruthless game of its own, one where reputation, trust, and reckless ambition can become the ultimate liabilities. Which of these financial disasters do you find the most alarming? Tell us in the comments. Hit that like button if you appreciate these deep dives, and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss our next look into the hidden and often tragic side of professional sports.